This is going to be a fun one because tonight I am going to be paying tribute to my roots. One of my cousins who is living in the Philippines right now, she had put in a request for me to do a mukbang, eating Jollibee and speaking in Tagalog. So I am going to do, or try to do that today for you, my dear cousin. I can't promise that I can do the whole thing in Tagalog, but I'm going to be putting in Tagalog words here and there for you. So here we go. So ito na ang request ng aking pinsan na gawin ko ito for this video. Well, first things first, what is a mukbang? So a mukbang is, as far as I know, it's when someone just eats while talking. It seems like that's pretty much all I do lately anyway. I just eat, but we gotta eat, right? Second, what is Jollibee? It's one of the most popular fast food chains in the Philippines, even outranking McDonald's in that country. And third, what is Tagalog? Tagalog is the language of the Philippines. Can't promise you that I can do the whole thing in Tagalog, but try natin ito, push natin ito, okay? Since a mukbang is someone eating and talking, instead of me just talking about random things, I'll make this into a Q&A while I'm eating. By the way, I just want to say thank you to everyone who had sent in questions. I would have been happy if I've gotten at least 10 or 5 even. I would have been very happy with that. But a lot of people sent in questions, which made me really happy. So thank you very much to all of you guys who did that. One person even sent 10 questions. So thank you for the love. Maraming salamat po sa inyo lahat. So this is called the Jolly Spaghetti. I have to say though, I have to admit that I'm not a big fan of Jollibee. I rarely go to Jollibee. If I do, I would always just get dessert. They have this peach mango pie that is divine, just delicious, masarap. The menu at Jollibee is a little different than your typical fast food place because they have like this one, spaghetti. It's a little different than the Italian spaghetti. It's got its own Filipino twist to it, where the taste is a little bit sweet. You might not like it. I don't really like this one, but you know, I'll eat it. It's got hot dogs mixed into the sauce, so that's what makes this one different. Also, I have another dish called palabok. Think of it as a chow mein with glass noodles, and they put some kind of seafood sauce in it with some eggs, some shrimp, and it's normally topped with pork rinds to add some texture and some crunch to it. Jollibee serves chicken as well. It can be a Filipino place without rice, right? So we have rice, white rice right there. I did have another dish earlier called the burger steak, and what it is, it's 2 burger patties with gravy, mushrooms, and white steamed rice. So let's start with the spaghetti. I just think that spaghetti is such a childhood dish that every kid, you know, wherever you are in the world, when you say spaghetti, you know, kids love spaghetti. One of the things that people ask me a lot about is my name. Why Makio James? Is that your real name? A few years ago, my boss, who is from Hawaii, gave me the Hawaiian version of my name. So James is Kimo and Matthew is Makio. And as soon as I heard it, I go, what? I'm gonna use those names because I like it. It's just unique, it's different. So instead of saying Kimo Makio, I like Makio much more. So I used Makio first, so Makio James, so I kept James. And I've been using that nickname for a while now, for a few years now. Sometimes when I meet someone for the first time, I would just introduce myself as Makio. So the first one is, what do you do for a living? What do you do for work? I am a graphic designer, that's what I do for a living. And I've been doing that for, I don't know, over 15 years now, almost 20. And it's something that I've always liked, I've always loved, and I really enjoy doing it. I'm very passionate about design, about art, about just creative things. You know, that's what I like. So that's what I do. Why did you get into graphic design? When I was a kid, I remember wanting to be somewhere in the medical field, either a doctor or a dentist, but something medical. It wasn't until later when I found out how much studying you have to do to be a doctor, to be someone in the medical field, and I just went, nope, maybe I should shift over to something else. So when I was in college, I started taking up IT classes, information technology. Back then, that was a hot thing, but I ended up hating it. I was miserable. But at the school where I was going to then, they had a design class, an art class that I had to take. I don't know why, but we had to learn design software. We had to do layout, typography, graphics, design, etc. And I liked it. I ended up really liking it. So I decided, instead of moving forward with IT, I'll shift over to graphic design. If you were to have a kid, why not babysit my kid, my baby right now? To that I say, no thanks. I'm not good at babysitting. I will never advertise myself as a babysitter, nor would I take any babysitting jobs, because what's gonna happen, what's gonna end up is I'll eat your baby's food, I'll take a nap, and then I'll probably lose your baby. So I will say no. I like kids, I like babies, but only for a short period of time, and then after that, they can just go back to their parents, so. Gagodiba. How many countries have you been to, and which one is your favorite? Okay, I think I had been to not very many countries, just a handful. I've been to about 15 or 16 countries, I would say. I would say Thailand is my favorite, because I love Thai food. After the pandemic, which country would you like to visit first? Again, I would like to say Thailand, but I think I'd like to visit Japan. I was playing this video game called Ghost of Tsushima, and it was set in Japan. And I fell in love with the scenery. I thought Japan is beautiful. Oh my God. I really want to see Japan. All right, I'm gonna try the other one, our palabok. This is actually good. Masarap to. Jollibee also serves pineapple juice. I like pineapples. Someone asked, would you grow old in Vegas or elsewhere? I think so. I love Vegas. Vegas gets a lot of hate, even from its own residents, but I love Vegas. People say that Vegas has no culture, Vegas is new, Vegas is artificial, but everyone wants to go to Vegas. Everyone wants to come here. Do you have a design credo? Credo, what is credo? Credo is like philosophy, right? Or a mantra of some sort. Yeah, I do. It is, the more things you see, the more ideas you have. And I actually have it tattooed on my chest right here. There's another question here that's related to this. It says, how can others develop a sense for seeing creativity in everyday life? I've always believed that everything that we see around us is a source of inspiration for creativity. We are surrounded by sources of inspiration. I try to not look at one thing just for what it is. You know, I like to look at something, but instead of just looking at it, I also like to look at what's next to it, or what's beneath it, what's above it, what's behind it. Really pay attention to details, because a lot of times, more often than not, it's the details that really does make a difference. Think about it. Imagine this, building a house, right? When you build a house, it's got many different layers, many different components and elements, but what really holds one house together? What holds the beams up? What connects everything? Those little tiny nails are the ones that are holding the pieces of wood tightly and firmly together. You can't see the nails, right? If you look closely is when you see it, but it really is what makes the difference. Details. Pay attention to details. Try natin yung chicken besh. Sarap ng fried chicken. Yo, why is fried chicken always so good? What makes your mom such a strong and courageous person, and how does she inspire you? First of all, happy Mother's Day to my mom and to all the moms out there everywhere in the world. Thank you for everything that you do for us. My mom is such a strong person because she has managed to raise 5 children. There's a period of time where she was doing it on her own. It's hard to do, but she's done it. And all the sacrifices that she's made to be able to raise a family and to raise us, her children. She's a very inspirational person because she's always chosen to be kind, to be loving, to be understanding, to be supportive. She's very supportive of us and what we want to do in life, you know, our career choices, who we want to be with, where we want to live, what we want to do. I'm very grateful to her because I wouldn't be where I am today if she did not support what I wanted to do in life, as far as, you know, what I wanted to do for work, what I wanted to study. And not everyone gets to have something like that. My mom's just someone who wants the best for her kids and wants all of us to be happy. So happy Mother's Day, Ma. I love you. We love you. Here's a cool question. What was it like growing up in Legazpi? And what was the culture shock like when you moved here? What surprised you or took the most adjustment when you first got to Las Vegas? So I was born in the city called Legazpi in a province called Albay in the Philippines. And this place is about a 45-minute flight away from the capital city of Manila. One of the city's claim to fame is a volcano called Mayon Volcano. And at one point it was considered to be the most perfect cone-shaped volcano in the world. It was actually part of the Book of Records at one point. I don't know if it's still part of it. And our whole family moved out here when I was a teenager. I was 17 years old. And that was about 3 years ago. I'm kidding. Bata pa itsura ko, di ba? Oo. But anyway, what were the major adjustments? I think at that age, you were young like that. I remember I was just very excited to move out here. The very first time I flew on a plane was our flight from Manila to here, to Vegas. And I remember it well. It was Northwest Airlines, if you guys remember that. And I was so fascinated by how wide and expansive everything was. Keep in mind, I came from a small city in the Philippines. I mean, it was a city, but it wasn't like a big metro area by any means. So everything was a bit scaled down there. And I get here and I see everything was just big and wide and expansive. And I remember being very fascinated by that. We didn't have a lot of issues with the language because in the Philippines, language was spoken everywhere. It's practically our second language. One funny story though that I can never forget. I think it was our second day here. We were all walking to a restaurant to get some lunch, and we were walking past some houses. And you know how some houses have those lights by the driveway with sensors on them, so when it detects movement, it'll turn on. We've never seen anything like it before, and to me, it was so amazing. It was like, oh. So me and my brother and sisters, we'd walk past the driveway, and the lights would turn on, and then it would go off, right? And then we'd go back and forth just to see the light turn on and off. Have you ever skipped work because you felt lazy? Yeah. I mean, who hasn't, right? If you were to be reborn again in this world, what would you rather be? Or who would you rather be? Or which country would you like to be in? I think I'd want to be a cat. I used to have a cat before. His name is Mac, and a lot of people had told me how similar our personalities were, or how my personality is very similar to that of a cat, where I could be really cute and cuddly and sweet 1 minute, but in the same minute I can turn around and scratch her face out. Not to mention, I love to nap. I love to sleep and take naps, and cats pretty much sleep 90% of their life away. That's what they do. So I think I'd want to be a cat. If it's a different country, I think I want to be somewhere in South America. Maybe somewhere, I don't know, Venezuela or Costa Rica, one of those places. What is something you've always wanted to do or try, but still haven't? I want to go skydiving. Something I've always wanted to do. I want to try skydiving. Have you ever farted in front of someone and totally denied it? Nope, I've never farted in front of someone and denied it. If I were to fart in front of someone, I would probably say it's me. I am a farter though. In my sleep, I do fart a lot. Quick lesson, fart in Tagalog is utot. Who is your celebrity man crush? My celebrity man crush is Brad Pitt. I've always been a fan of Brad Pitt as far as acting because I feel like he's very underrated as an actor. Yeah, so Brad Pitt. As a good follow-up to that question, when did you come out and was it difficult? So in my book, I officially came out when I came out to my mom and to my family, and this was in December of 2016. I was going through a very difficult time in my life, and that's kind of like what led me to officially just come out. Was it difficult? Yes, it was difficult because it was such a long journey for me to get to that point where I'm comfortable with who I am, and I came to terms with who I am and what I am. And it was a long journey. It was a long process for me. It took a while, but as difficult as it was, hands down, it's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. To make that decision to be me. So let's stay in the same lane. And this next question is, do you have a boyfriend and who is he? Yeah, ako. Well, I do have a boyfriend right now, and we've been together for a while. But he's a very private person. He always just wants to be out of the limelight, on the sidelines or backstage. But I don't know, who knows? Maybe one of these days he'll pop in and you guys get to see and meet him. We'll see. Napainom ako. Here's a really important question. What are your thoughts on the alarming rise in violence towards the Asian American community? I debated if I should include the question here or not, because it really just made me uncomfortable and it made me nervous to answer it. And I had to take a good, hard, long look at myself, because at the end of the day, I am a member, I am a part of the Asian community in America. No matter how much you feel or think that you're safe, and something like that will never ever happen to you, when you keep seeing it on social media, you keep seeing it on the news, you read about it, you hear about it, now it really just makes you think, will that happen to me? What if that happens to me? What if that happens to the people I love? What if that happens to my mom? So it's really starting to hit close to home. It makes me feel sad that these things are happening, and it's heartbreaking to hear about these kinds of stories, because it could very well be me, it could very well be my mom, it could very well be someone in my family. And it all stems from hatred in people's hearts. And I don't know what needs to be done, but something has to be done. Even if we're just discussing it or educating other people that, hey, these things are happening and these things should not happen because it's not right. Let us not empower other people to act on hate and hatred. Let us not allow that to happen. It always just ends in tragedy. Some of these naughty ones that came in, who sent these? Have you ever gone skinny dipping? I have. Have you ever shoplifted? I have. What? I think everyone shoplifted. Would you consider it shoplifting if all I did was lift a price tag sticker off of one product and put it on the product that I wanted to buy? Is that shoplifting or just rearranging prices? So the last question would be, what do you enjoy about being in Las Vegas as a local that visitors might not get to enjoy? I think being here, living here with my family, being with my friends, being able to spend time with them, being able to hang out with them, eat with them, go places with them. I think that's what I enjoy most about being here. And that is one thing that visitors would never ever get to have. That being said, if you have any other questions that you would like to ask me, feel free to reach out, send a message or type something up in the comments and I'll respond to it. Or if you want to follow me or send me a message on Instagram, Kimo_Makio. Give me a follow if you're not following me there. Follow along and be a witness to all the nonsense that I do. Ang dami ng pagkain, so bukas marami akong leftover. Thank you very much again for watching and bye.